The Basilica I Temple Expiatory de la Sagrada Familia, also known as the Sagrada Familia, is a large unfinished minor basilica in the Eixample district of Barcelona, Catalonia, Spain, and is currently the largest unfinished Roman Catholic church. Designed by the Catalan architect Antoni Gaudí, 1852-1926, his work on the building is part of a UNESCO World Heritage Site. On 7 November 2010, Pope Benedict XVI consecrated the church and proclaimed it a minor basilica. On 19 March 1882, construction of the Sagrada Familia began under architect Francisco de Paula del Villar. In 1883, when Villar resigned, Gaudí took over as chief architect, transforming the project with his architectural and engineering style, combining Gothic and curvilinear Art Nouveau forms. Gaudí devoted the remainder of his life to the project, and he is buried in the crypt. At the time of his death in 1926, less than a quarter of the project was complete. Relying solely on private donations, the Sagrada Familia's construction progressed slowly and was interrupted by the Spanish Civil War. In July 1936, revolutionaries set fire to the crypt and broke their way into the workshop, partially destroying Gaudí's original plans, drawings and plaster models, which led to 16 years of work to piece together the fragments of the master model. Construction resumed to intermittent progress in the 1950s. Advancements in technologies such as computer-aided design and computerized numerical control, (CNC), have since enabled faster progress and construction passed the midpoint in 2010. However, some of the project's greatest challenges remain, including the construction of 10 more spires, each symbolizing an important biblical figure in the New Testament. It was anticipated that the building would be completed by 2026, the centenary of Gaudí's death, but this has now been delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The basilica has a long history of splitting opinion among the residents of Barcelona over the initial possibility it might compete with Barcelona's cathedral, over Gaudí's design itself, over the possibility that work after Gaudí's death disregarded his design, and the 2007 proposal to build a tunnel nearby as part of Spain's high-speed rail link to France, possibly disturbing its stability. Describing the Sagrada Familia, art critic Rainer Zerbst said, "It is probably impossible to find a church building anything like it in the entire history of art." And Paul Goldberger describes it as the most extraordinary personal interpretation of Gothic architecture since the Middle Ages. The basilica is not the cathedral church of the Archdiocese of Barcelona, as the title belongs to the Cathedral of the Holy Cross and Saint Eulalia. The Basilica de la Sagrada Familia was the inspiration of a bookseller, Josep Maria Bocabella, founder of Asociación Espiritual de Devotos de San José, Spiritual Association of Devotees of Saint Joseph. After a visit to the Vatican in 1872, Bocabella returned from Italy with the intention of building a church inspired by the basilica at Loreto. The apse crypt of the church, funded by donations, was begun the 19th of March 1882, on the Festival of Saint Joseph, to the design of the architect Francisco de Paula del Villar, whose plan was for a Gothic revival church of a standard form. The apse crypt was completed before Villar's resignation on the 18th of March 1883, when Antoni Gaudí assumed responsibility for its design, which he changed radically. Gaudí began work on the church in 1883 but was not appointed architect director until 1884. Chief architect Jordi Folli announced in October 2015 that construction is 70% complete and has entered its final phase of raising 6 immense steeples. The steeples and most of the church's structure are to be completed by 2026, the centennial of Gaudí's death. As of a 2017 estimate, decorative elements should be complete by 2030 or 2032. Visitor entrance fees of €15 to €20 finance the annual construction budget of €25 million. Computer-aided design technology has been used to accelerate construction of the building. Current technology allows stone to be shaped off-site by a CNC milling machine, whereas in the 20th century the stone was carved by hand. In 2008, some renowned Catalan architects advocated halting construction to respect Gaudí's original designs, which, although they were not exhaustive and were partially destroyed, have been partially reconstructed in recent years. In 2018, the stone type needed for the construction was found in a quarry in Brinscall, near Chorley, England. Gaudí's original design calls for a total of 18 spires, representing in ascending order of height the 12 apostles, the Virgin Mary, the 4 evangelists and, tallest of all, Jesus Christ. 9 spires have been built as of 2021, corresponding to 4 apostles at the Nativity facade and 4 apostles at the Passion facade and the Virgin Mary spire. According to the 2005 Works report of the project's official website, drawings signed by Gaudi and recently found in the municipal archives indicate that the spire of the Virgin was in fact intended by Gaudi to be shorter than those of the evangelists. The spire height will follow Gaudi's intention, which according to the report will work with the existing foundation. The evangelist spires will be surmounted by sculptures of their traditional symbols: a winged bull, St. Luke; a winged man, St. Matthew; an eagle, St. John; and a winged lion, St. Mark. The central spire of Jesus Christ is to be surmounted by a giant cross. Its total height, 172.5 meters, 566 feet, will be less than that of Montjuïc Hill in Barcelona, as Gaudi believed that his creation should not surpass God's. The lower spires are surmounted by communion hosts with sheaves of wheat and chalices with bunches of grapes, representing the Eucharist. Plans call for tubular bells to be placed within the spires, driven by the force of the wind, and driving sound down into the interior of the church. Gaudi performed acoustic studies to achieve the appropriate acoustic results inside the temple. However, only one bell is currently in place. The completion of the spires will make Sagrada Familia the tallest church building in the world, 11 meters taller than the current record holder, Ulm Minster, which is 161.5 meters, 530 feet, at its highest point. The church plan is that of a Latin cross with 5 aisles. The central nave vaults reach 45 meters, 148 feet, while the side nave vaults reach 30 meters, 98 feet. The transept has 3 aisles. The columns are on a 7.5 meters, 25 feet grid. However, the columns of the apse, resting on Del Villar's foundation, do not adhere to the grid, requiring a section of columns of the ambulatory to transition to the grid, thus creating a horseshoe pattern to the layout of those columns. The crossing rests on the 4 central columns of porphyry supporting a great hyperboloid surrounded by 2 rings of 12 hyperboloids currently under construction. The central vault reaches 60 meters, 200 feet. The apse is capped by a hyperboloid vault reaching 75 meters, 246 feet. Gaudi intended that a visitor standing at the main entrance be able to see the vaults of the nave, crossing, and apse, thus the graduated increase in vault loft. There are gaps in the floor of the apse, providing a view down into the crypt below. The columns of the interior are a unique Gaudi design. Besides branching to support their load, their ever-changing surfaces are the result of the intersection of various geometric forms. The simplest example is that of a square base evolving into an octagon as the column rises, then a 16-sided form, and eventually to a circle. This effect is the result of a 3-dimensional intersection of helicoidal columns, for example a square cross-section column twisting clockwise and a similar one twisting counterclockwise. Essentially none of the interior surfaces are flat. The ornamentation is comprehensive and rich, consisting in large part of abstract shapes which combine smooth curves and jagged points. Even detail-level work such as the iron railings for balconies and stairways are full of curvaceous elaboration. The art historian Nikolaus Pevsner, writing in the 1960s, referred to Gaudi's buildings as growing like sugar loaves and anthills, and describes the ornamenting of buildings with shards of broken pottery as possibly bad taste, but handled with vitality and ruthless audacity. Together with 6 other Gaudi buildings in Barcelona, part of La Sagrada Familia is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, as testifying to Gaudi's exceptional creative contribution to the development of architecture and building technology, having represented El Modernism of Catalonia, and anticipated and influenced many of the forms and techniques that were relevant to the development of modern construction in the 20th century. The inscription only includes the crypt and the Nativity facade.